What is going down? It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. So, first off, I just want to start off by apologising about the stream the other day. So, on Wednesday, I went live and I was writing a tune on FL Studio, and my computer just gave me so much lag that I was trying to write a melody in and I just couldn't hear it properly because it kept lagging and I couldn't tell if I was getting it in time, and it was just really having my pants down. And then throughout the course of that night, I just could not get that melody right, to the point where it really stressed me out. Like, I was thinking it's such a simple melody and I just cannot time it up right on this project, and I cannot get the notes right. To be in time, like the actual notes of the melody was right, but when I was playing it, it was like it was sounding slower than 150, and I'd knocked something on my FL Studio, which was like causing the notes not to line up, and like when you click, it wasn't going on the line, and I realised what I'd knocked after a while, and then I wrote the melody in first time, and boom, it was in time. And now I'm just trying to find the right sound for it. So anyway, welcome back to another stream. We've got a gig announcement, and I'm also going to talk about the possibility of me getting a bike again. And this is going to shock some of you who may have not known me for a long time, if you haven't followed me for a long time. So we'll start with the gig announcement, and then we'll move on to the bike. And I ain't going to tell you, I'm going to leave you thinking. You've got to watch later on into the stream. What am I on about? Buy a bike, did I do a bit of cycling? I'm gonna leave that till later on in the stream. But yeah, so the gig announcement. I've been sort of saying about this on my streams for a little while now. So I got booked for this event just originally to MC, and I think I was I didn't get time to announce it, and then there was basically like some DJs that pulled out from the event and said they're not going to be able to make it. So because I was already going, this was like going to be like, I think like my second to last MC booking before I kind of take the step back from MCing. Big shout what you're saying. So yeah, so I was gonna sort of make this announcement, and then they took the flyer down, and they said they was gonna remake the flyer. So I was waiting for the flyer, and then me being me, I just get busy, with work and stuff. And then they'd actually announced it and I missed it. So yes, big shout to people. So I'm announcing a gig. I'm announcing a gig. What you're saying? Yes, we've got people coming in. Jesus Christ, where are all these? Where are all these people coming from? 24 people. Jesus Christ, I have never had this on a live before. Wow, that is quite some numbers. I know it's only like 24, but now it's gone up to 32. What the hell is going on? On YouTube as well. So yeah, so I popped up on your feed. Well, I'm glad I'm popping up in various places. Yeah, so I'm excited to announce that I'm going back up to Scotland in September. So September, I am heading back up to Oik in Scotland for Crazy Chaos again. So a lot of you who might be in this stream for the first time, you might not know, but back in March, I went up to Oik in Scotland and did a DJ gig, and it was one of the best gigs that I have ever done since doing this whole music journey. So I went to this booking in Oik, and it was at first the night was a little bit quiet, and I was a little bit like, I've come all this way and now it's really happening. But I was using it as a little bit of have a little bit of a weekend away, and it was also a chance to meet some people that I've sort of been communicating with online through music, and not met them yet. So I was like still in good spirit. And then all of a sudden, the loads of people just came in, and the nightclub just rammed, and it got like really busy. And then by the time that I went on the decks, which I think it was somewhere about 20 past midnight or something like that, I went on the decks, and the place was just absolutely heaving, like out of nowhere. And then for the majority of the night, there was just this packed nightclub, of everybody having just a really good time. It was almost like, whatever little venues and pubs had closed, and then everybody had like filtered into this club, and it just created this like unreal atmosphere, that I just blew me away. Because if you'd have like been in that club a couple of hours earlier, you would have literally have thought like, this is not going to be this is a really quiet night. And it was raining as well. It was absolutely chucking it down. So like you're thinking, oh, not many people are going to be out because it's raining. So, yeah, it was absolutely, just absolutely fantastic. Did I bang any birds? No, I didn't. So, what happened is, we stayed in a big like hotel castle, and like loads of other like artists and DJs that were playing on this event. We all stayed in this big castle. It was like the Crazy Chaos Castle, is what we called it at the time. And it was just like there was a load of us artists, and it was all like it was almost like this big house. That's like the only way I can describe it. But it was really nice. It was a proper, really good vibe. It was an absolutely amazing vibe in there. I am all good my end. But the only thing that really annoyed me, about going to the event the first time round, it was nothing to do with the event. It was actually to do with the people that I went with. So my mum, she is not a very good timekeeping person, and like you've got to like really like you've got to literally like you've got to be on at her, and you've got to keep pestering her, and telling her that, look, we're setting off at this time, we've got to set off at this time, and you've got to make sure that you're ready, blah blah blah. And it came to the day, and she wasn't ready, she wasn't prepared. There was like certain things that she had to do, like she had to make sure that she got to the chemist and everything, and she loads of things that needed doing. And it got to the morning of us going, and she just wasn't prepared. And then she was like to the point where like it just wouldn't be worth me coming. And then I was kind of like, well, like, hang on a minute, like I've like we're all playing at this event, but we've all kind of chipped in to stay at this like really big like hotel like castle place, and I've like paid extra and told the guy like at the for the hotel place that I'm bringing two people with me, so I had to pay extra. So in a way, I kind of paid out for accommodation to go, but like it was a bit of an holiday for me, but yeah, she just wasn't ready. And she was like, "Oh, just you're gonna have to go without me." And then I was like, "No, like I can't do it." And I got real annoyed with her. And then we was ages, and we set off later than I originally wanted to set off. And then me mate, like the person who drove us, his car started playing up, and it started overheating, and we had to pull over and let it cool down. And then it like because of all that, it felt like it was a really long journey. Took us like mega long to get there. So by the time we got there was like an hour to spare before we was going to the club. And I wanted to like chill out and meet everybody and have a bit of a laugh, and have a bit of a chill out at where we're staying and stuff, and just make a little bit more of a weekend of it. And we got there, and there was like an hour to spare before we had to sort of like get ready and go to the club. And then there was like then we got to the club, like to sound check and everything. And then sort of like by the next morning, we was up, and we was out for having breakfast, and then you was coming home, and it just kind of, I wanted to make a little bit more of a weekend of it. and like go and like see some sightseeing, or you can just not rush, and everything was just, it was just all one big rush. That was the only thing that annoyed me. Um, but anyway, they're putting a second event on, and they invited me back. They invited me to play. So originally I was just emceeing, and then they had a couple of DJs that pulled out, and they knew I was already going, so they just put me on. To play a set, and I think I'm somewhere like just after 1 a.m. or something like that. So I'm not too fussed about that. Which is, that's obviously, fine with me, because I'm staying over, so it's not like I've got to set off to travel back, kind of thing. So I was quite happy with that. That was good for me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I think what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna go earlier, and I think I'm gonna make a more of a weekend of it, and I'm gonna go on the train, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go and like stop like a couple of nights there, and then like travel back, um like a day later, because I think we booked the castle again. But we've got the castle like Saturday night, and then we've got the castle like on Sunday night, and then I think like we leave on the Monday. So I think I'm just gonna do that rather than like just coming for the Saturday and then leaving on the Sunday, because Oik itself doesn't actually have a train station. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go. I'm gonna like go on the train like so far, like maybe on the Friday, and then I think I'm gonna stop over at the head honcho's head honcho's gaff, and then just literally head over to Oyuk, and then stay at Oyuk for the 2 nights, and then travel back on the Monday, and then go to the train station, and get the train back, and then come back home, and I might just have to like miss, like one music session, one music lab or something. Just that one music lab, and then just literally do that. But I'm looking forward to playing again. It's going to be an enjoyable vibe to play again. So why don't you just go with your mum? I am not going. Like I say, she's just not good at like timekeeping, and like you can remind her, and you can say, look, you've got to be ready for this certain time, and she will not be ready. We always set off later than we plan. And when you've got a gig, and when you're playing sets, and when you've got to arrive somewhere and do certain things, it becomes very stressful, because you've got certain things that you need to do, and when you're not getting there on time, like a little while before we went to Scotland, I got booked to play in Grimsby, which is only about 45 minutes away from where I live. But I just said, look, to my mum and a friend, like, do you fancy just coming for the trip? It's on, just over the bridge again. Fusion where I played before. And my set time was something like 11 o'clock, which, it was all fine and dandy. But, it was like, it was getting up for 10 o'clock before we even set off to leave. And I wanted to leave a lot more earlier than that. And it ends up being so stressful, and when you've got to get there, and when you've got to play sets, and then when like you're on the way, you've got to like stop for fuel and stuff, and you've got to fuel up, and then you've got to stop at the toll booths to pay to go across the bridge and stuff. Like everything just adds up, and I hate it. I don't like going into nightclubs with like minutes to spare before you go on the decks. I like to go a good hour and a half to, sometimes I like to go and support, a good few hours of the event. But if I can't, I do like to go at least like an hour and a half before, or like an hour before the set, just so I can like get settled in and I can get the vibe of the guy who was on before me. You know, and I can have a drink and I can just, you know, meet a couple of people or whatever before I'm going on the decks, because you know that's something I like to do. And then obviously, you know, just go from there. And you know, I don't like to just turn up and then instantly have to like go on and play your set. You know, it's just a thing I'm not really a fan of. Like if I have to do it, I'll do it. Like if I'm coming from one club and going to another club, sometimes you can't always guarantee to get there on time. But you know, when I'm only doing like that one booking of the night and I'm sat at home twiddling my thumbs until I go, um, you know, it's not my sort of thing. So yeah, so I'm gonna go on my Todd this time. That's you know, obviously I'm gonna go on my Todd, and we'll take things from there, and it should be a really good vibe in Scotland again. So I think, like I say, I think my set time. It was round 1 a.m., but I can't remember exactly what the time was, but it was round 1 a.m., which that is a perfect time for me because that's when the club starts to fill up. You know, that's sort of, you know, when I played the 20 past 12 earlier this year, it started to fill up at that point. So I'm thinking it might do the same again. And then we'll have a really, really good vibe. We'll have an absolutely belting vibe. So looking forward to it. So that is the 8th of September. Base nightclub Oik in Scotland. It's just onto the Scottish borders, and it's going to be a shed. And when I say it, I mean it. It is going to be a shed load of fun. So with that being said, hopefully I'll see some of you there. It's a free entry event. They raise money for charities, and they do like 3 different charities, and then they put like, you know, a good like so many DJs on, so many hours of music, and absolutely amazing. And it did really well last time, and I was like really pleased of how well it did. Um, what gen of tunes do I play? So I play a bit of everything. So my main genre, like what I'm enjoying the most at the moment, is like UK bounce and donk. So that's what I would say like that I mainly play. And when I say mainly play, like that's the genre that I push myself in the most at the moment. But I do other things, like I play clubland sets, I do UK hardcore sets, I play house music, I do trance. I don't do trance all the time. Trance is like something I do every now and again, but I do like me classic Kevin and Perry sort of trance, that sort of late 90s trance. Yeah, Wigan Pier, exactly. Yeah, Wigan Pier sort of tunes. A lot of people call it like fairground music. But yeah, Wigan Pier sort of stuff. Like classic piano house. I love classic piano house from like the 90s. I love the acid house. I like my rave breaks. I don't mix it very often, but I like my rave breaks. Like early old school rave. I like drum and bass, but I don't mix it. I'm more just like listening to it and spitting bars over it because it's a shed load of fun to do that. I also occasionally play a little bit of techno. Techno's not my biggest genre of music, but like I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Um, I love hard house and like hard dance. So hard house was a big genre for me growing up and stuff like that. And then I don't mind like reverse bass and hard style. So yeah, I mean I really play a variety, but I just like there's just certain genres that I just push more. And I'd say like UK hardcore and bounce is kind of like what I play like mainly. And then like every now and again I'll fancy playing a house set. So you know I stick some house on. So club. I think I've heard of them. I think I've heard of them. I also produce as well, and I've got tracks that are signed to. So I've got tracks on 3 different labels. So Bounce Core Records, Excite Digital, and Grooving Sounds, and also Lehman Productions. That was kind of like where I started, and I've got like some free download tracks on there. There's a D&B track, there's a hardcore track, there's a bounce track, and then I've got like some of my rap stuff. A lot of my rap stuff on there is Lehman Productions, and also um, some of my positive reggae stuff is on there as well. So I do a bit of everything, you know. When it comes to music, I've just got this like passion for music in itself. I've also done stuff with bands as well. I've done like vocalists for bands. So, um, but yeah, what do you produce? So I mainly produce like bounce music at the moment, but like I give all kinds of different tracks a go. But like the main genre that I'm producing is like Wig and Peer at the moment, and that's the stuff that like I release at the moment. But I'm always like playing around with different stuff, and I've got loads of other genre tracks on the go. Stuff has come out on labels that are actually me, but you don't know it because they've like gone under like different names. So I'm trying to think of one that I can really reveal to you that isn't really going to be too much of a sort of like big surprise. But there's a guy on Grooving Sounds, and he's called Piano, and it's like it's spelt like P then a little line, and then ANO, and that is me. And that guy kind of just does like house bootlegs and stuff. So um, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, I have most definitely heard of them. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of show you right now because I've actually got a project on the go. Actually, I don't want to. I'm gonna just open up this one. So I started a remix the other day, and it's kind of been having my life, but I'll show you. It's only in like very early stages, and I haven't got the melody sort of how I want it yet. But it's still a like the track's still getting there, and you'll get the idea of it. Um, so if I just turn my screen over, so I use FL Studio, and yeah, this is what I mainly. Well, this is like what I use for sort of like music production. So I'll just give you a slight little preview. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna show you for now. I've got to work on that melody a little bit more. But yeah, FL Studio is just kind of what I kind of started off learning to produce on. So my production story. So probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I downloaded a free version of FL Studio. You know, just the demo version. I was quite young back then, and I think I was just curious. Like, I don't know. I think I just put into to like Google or something like how to remix a track or something. And then like I just saw that this program called FL Studio was getting recommended. Did not know anything about music production then. Downloaded the program because it had like a free demo version, and just opened it up. Did not have a single bit of a clue as to what I was doing. Like I was literally like, you know, just honest to God. Like I was just like, I did not have the foggiest, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna leave this to the professionals, like, because I watched videos and it kind of said like, this is what the professionals, and it listed off some like big time like producers and stuff that have used FL Studio, and I thought, this is what all the big boys make their music on. And at the time, I was like, I don't have the foggiest of a clue what I'm doing here. I shut the program down and never opened it again. Um, so um, so then about late 2019, I linked I was linking with a guy called MC Freestyle, and we formed a little rap duo called Bar to Bar, and we decided that we wanted to have a little sort of we were sort of going to have a little bit of a go at like making some hip hop beats for us to spit over, rather than just like using instrumentals off of the internet. So he knew a little bit more about FL Studio than me, and he got a cracked copy of the full version, and then he sort of started telling me like, oh, you can, I could make like hardcore tracks on here, and we could do all sorts on here, and got me like really excited. And we started, so we wrote a hip hop track, and it was absolutely dog shite, but at the time was proper buzzed with it, and then I was like, do you know what? I want to write some dance music and stuff, and some hardcore and stuff. Um, so Jesus Christ, that was loud. So we started writing a hardcore track, and we finished it, or should I say, we got it to the stage where we thought it was finished. Um, and then literally we put it out, and we got some constructive criticism and some feedback, and all the rest of it. Can you play the piano? I can play the piano to an extent, so I can't like sit on a piano and like fully play it for hours on end. But what I can do is I can go on a keyboard, and I can play a few like well-known melodies from like dance tracks and stuff like that. And I can play like Still Dre, Faithless Insomnia, Better Off Alone, Alice DJ. I can do Watergate, Heart of Asia. If you've heard of that track, it's a classic trance. I can do Scott Brown, Elysium, hardcore track. Ed Sheeran, the Shape of You melody. I can do Zombie Nation. I can do a trance track called I Feel Love. It's got like a real catchy melody in there, and I can play that. I can do Sweet Harmony, the rave tune, and I can do a couple of others, and that is about it really. But I can't sit there and do all this like beautiful piano music really. So you should stream your music making process. I tried doing that the other day when I was putting this track together, and for some reason my computer was just lagging. So I was trying to like do certain parts of the track. I was writing the melody, and it wouldn't work. It was lagging, and I couldn't hear. And it was not doing. It was not that good. So I decided to cut the stream. But yeah, so as I was saying, we finished this hardcore track to what we thought, and I was proper buzzed, and I think my friend, he was just never really, I don't know what the word is, but he wasn't really as motivated as I was. And at the time, he was the one who had the FL Studio, so if ever we wanted to work on something, I had to go to his, and it had to be sort of when he was available. And it was just like days on end where we weren't like getting any production done, and I was just getting a little bit annoyed, and I was trying to ring him, and he was like always like busy and occupied, and was trying to do stuff over the phone, and I was trying to do them over like Zoom calls and stuff, and he just wasn't motivated like I was. So I decided just I'm gonna get a crack copy myself, and obviously through sort of doing some bits with freestyle, I'd picked up a few little bits, so like I wasn't like a complete noob, but I was obviously like far from being anything good. But I thought, you know what, like now I know a little bit more just about, just what different things in the program does. That was kind of like the boost for me. So then I could begin like just putting some stuff together. And that's when I began sort of my physical production journey. So, do I make music as your job? Um, do you know what? Like, the mad thing is, I kind of do. I do and I don't. So we'll get onto that in a moment because like the tunes I'm making like now, like the bounce and the wig and stuff, like that's not my job. Like as much as I'd love to sit there and say I get paid to make wig and Pia style tracks, that's not what I do. However, I do a pretty fucking awesome job. If I do say so myself, I do a pretty fucking awesome job, and I love my job. And sometimes I do actually have to pinch myself to, like I can't believe I've actually got the opportunity to do this job. But yeah, I do DJ as well, and I do get paid for DJing, but it's not a full time job. It's not a full time job, so it's kind of like a hobby that I kind of get a little bit of income from. So I'm at that like because I started out DJing, and then sort of pushed the DJ. Started getting a few bookings, and you get your first few bookings, and you're getting that opportunity to be up there on the stage and be up there with some names, and at first you do it for free. Because it's giving you exposure to get out there and get on the lineups, and then there becomes a point where you kind of think, well, right, I've done this for long enough now. It's time to start valuing myself, and it's time to start asking, promoters like, just dip your hands in, pay my travel, that kind of stuff, and then, and then from there on, you set yourself a fee. Right, it costs me this much now because I've got to travel, because I've got to stay over. So I'm at the point now where I still do the odd things for free now and again. Like if I know the person is, and I'm just kind of doing somebody a little bit of a deal or doing somebody like a one-off thing, and then sometimes I'll do like. I'll come and do it. You'll have to pay. I'm normally this much, but I'll do it a bit cheaper for you, kind of thing. And then there'll just be like times where it's like, yeah, I'm this price, pay it or I don't come. And it's a tough game out there. It's really tough. I'm not gonna lie to you because like you give yourself this set price and this set fee, and because in a lot of sense, I'm doing something that thousands of other people can do. And I live in Hull. So like people can look at Hull, who's available. Oh, we got this DJ, we got that DJ. So they ask me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll come and do it, but I'm this much. And then there's another DJ in the same town, that can do exactly the same thing, and then they'll be free because they don't know how to charge, and they don't feel like it's right to charge. They don't have the they don't have the they don't have the like gut to start. They think they're being cheeky, starting to like ask people for money, and stuff like that. And then from a promoter's point of view, like why would they pay to have me when that other person is going to alternatively do it for free? So by sort of putting a price on yourself, you're giving yourself value, but you've got to kind of accept that you are going to lose you are going to lose a few bookings through it because there's promoters out there sadly that they get all their headliners, they get all the main people that they want, and then they scout around for some like free DJs, some like up and comers who would be willing to just come and play for the experience, and would kind of play that first set, or second set of the night, or they'll play the last set when everything's kind of happened and it's all dying down and people are more or less gone home, and or like I say, that first set and people haven't really fully arrived yet. And then you start asking for a price, or sorry, we haven't got budget for it. So it's a little bit of a tough thing, but you've got to do it. You've got to add value to yourself. So, hey, bro, I was following you on Facebook a few years ago. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. So, let's talk about the real day job, shall we? Not that the DJing's not like a real thing. But what do I do like during the week for work? And I actually do a music orientated job. And it's a pretty cool job. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a really cool job. So I work. So I'm like a youth worker, essentially. So I work for an organisation called the Goodwin Development Trust, and I run a project on there called the Hull Youth Music Network, and it's a network that focuses on like 16 to 29-year-olds, and it's like giving them the opportunity to kind of help shape the future of music in Hull. So what I do is I put these networking events on. So they're called like we call them like networking events, like kind of at work. But then obviously to make it more interesting, we don't kind of advertise it online as though it's a network event as such. We try to kind of make it sound a bit more exciting, because you say like let's have a meeting and network to like a load of young people. They're gonna be like, I can't be asked to do that. They'd rather just sit at home on the Xbox, or go home and jam music in the bedroom and vape. So we kind of have to, we kind of make it a bit more sort of interesting than it's just a networking event. But essentially, we put these networking events on where young people can essentially feed back. So they fill out these short feedback forms. They tell us essentially what they think is missing within the music scene in Hull, what they'd like to see, opportunities for up and coming artists, etc. And they kind of tell us, and then we sort of do our best to try and facilitate what the people are asking for. So obviously, we can't do everything that everybody asks for. Like, if someone, I don't know, say for example, they wrote down on the sheet like, we want a gig at Glastonbury. Like, the chances of us being able to do that is very, very slim. But we can definitely like set people like on their journey and on their path to maybe eventually get that opportunity. But I suppose a good example of how we've helped people in the past. So we was doing our networking events just over a year ago, and on the feedback forms, people was saying that there's a lack of music studios in the city of Hull, and they wanted to know more about like what studios are available and how to access them, and also that studios they can be quite costly, like when you got to book in for a session and stuff. So we made it our job to then go and like well, let's find out information about recording studios, and at our like following event, we had like little newsletters on the tables in the venue that we used, and it was like information about different studios in the city. Um, so that was obviously a thing. And then we actually found out that there was a disused music studio in a youth centre, and then we literally rang the youth centre up and said like what's the deal with the room, and they was kind of like, well, it's not been used since before the coronavirus, so we literally have no plans for it. So we was going to actually like strip the room out and get rid of the studio completely. And then we gave them the potential like opportunity, saying, look, we could open the studio and sort of like let it out for free, and then people can book in to this studio. And they'd get a free recording session. They could come in and do whatever they wanted to do, and that was that. So they agreed. We cleaned the studio up, and because it just sort of like become a storage room, and yeah. We now open that once a week. We do another session on a Monday, which is called the Music Lab, and that is kind of like it's a free kind of like drop-in session when we're inside like a live music venue, and it gives people the opportunity to jam on stage like you would be in a live venue. And also, like you would be in a band and you'd be practicing and you'd be making your next track essentially. And we have around 8 to 11 people that turn up each week, and we jam on stage and we make music. So that's a really cool thing. Like, it's a really cool aspect. It's a fun part of the job. And now on a Tuesday, I go to another youth centre, and I offer like a music session there. It's kind of like a mobile studio, so I go to this other youth centre and we go in their music room, and basically like I teach like DJing, and teach like lyric writing, and just a few little basic stuff, I only started there last week. That was like a new thing. And then the actual studio itself, that's opening more days a week. So I do this really cool. I do this really cool, like sort of job, and it is like a really cool job. It's a really fun aspect of work. And then I also do social media. So like for all the projects we run and everything we do, we have this, we have like a Facebook page and an Instagram and a TikTok account. And my job is just basically like I manage that. So like I have to respond to all the messages that are going into there. I have to put like posts up on there if we've got any sessions, like we're launching any new sessions, or anything like changes. I have to like make posters, so I make flyers and posters. And then I have to do like boring stuff, which is like office work. So like when we get feedback, I have to go through all the feedback and write up the feedback, and then I have to send it to the head of Arts Council, all the feedback, and then I have to get all the registers for the sessions, and then I have to fill these spreadsheets in, so like so like Monday we'll have our music lab session on Monday, and then I go to the office on Wednesday, and then I have to calculate like how long the session was, and then how many people were at the session, and I have to fill out the register of all the people that were there on the spreadsheet by putting like little cross next to the name on like a spreadsheet, and then I have to do like there's a lot more to my job than just like doing fun music sessions, but like fun music sessions is like the main part of it, and then there's just like stuff in the background like the registers. It's like something that I have to do, like because it's part of it, and like because it's a funded job, like the funders, they need to see like the like what's happening with the session, so they need to see like the rough estimate of like numbers, and like how many people are attending sessions, are the sessions popular, and they need to see like stuff happening on social media, so like pictures from the sessions, and like the sessions are being advertised, and all of the good stuff. We need to kind of prove that we're doing it to the funders. So like when the funding runs out and we go, look, we'd like to try and extend the funding, they're more likely to say, yeah, of course, we're willing to give you some more funding, because they can see that the projects are doing well. And then another part of my job is I have to have like meetings, like catch up meetings with my boss. So like once a week we have like a catch up, and we go over like the list of tasks that have been set for the week. So I've got like lists of tasks of like things that need to be done. So for example, we're putting a networking event on. So by next week, we need, I don't know, say just a couple of acts confirmed that are gonna like perform and sing at the event. So then it's my job to go and do that, and then sometimes it might be go to so and so. When you go to so and so, take feedback forms and all that kind of stuff. And then the following week we have a meeting, and then we go over like what tasks have been done, what's been done, and then like more tasks will get set, and stuff like that. And that is essentially what like the score is like with that. So that is kind of what goes on. But it's a really fun job. Like it's the best job that I have ever done in the world. It's like I absolutely love it. And at the moment, like doing all these different sessions, like the sessions, like I do so many different sessions now in like the studio, and in like the like other youth centres and things like that. And like it's like that is kind of like like I feel at the moment I love my job more now than I've ever loved it. Like that's how good it is. Like the I love it more now than I've ever loved it. So that's a crazy thing. But anyway, we went a little bit off topic, but we was answering questions, was having a little bit of fun. So yeah, so the gig announcement, Scotland, that is going to be a shed load of fun. And what I want to finish up the stream by talking about and saying is getting a bike back. So I put it in the title, and if you've read the title or you watch this after the stream has actually been live, you might be thinking like, what are you talking about? Getting a bike back? Like what do you mean? Like did you have a bike before? You on about a push bike? And no, I'm not on about a push bike. Believe it or not, I am on about a fully fledged motorbike, a motorcycle, whatever the hell you want to call it. So when I was 16, which believe it or not, that is actually 10 years ago. Like, where has 10 years gone? I got a moped on the road because, when you turn 16 in the UK, you are legal to ride a 50cc moped on the road. And anyway, I rode that, and I think I had that for, I can't remember how long I had it for. I think it was like a good year and a half to nearly 2 years. And anyway, cutting the story short, I then got rid of the moped, and I moved up and I got a 125cc bike. So when you turn 17, you can move up and you can get like a 125, which is kind of like the next sort of cc bike up. And I got an NSR 125, got it on the road. I think I'd got it. I think my CBT was due to run out, so I redid the CBT, and then got the bike, sort of like, so I was redoing the test, and then it was like a fresh bike. So I did that, and I had it on the road for ages. It was a geared 125. It was probably it was the best bike that I owned, and I hadn't owned many. I had a quad bike when I was a kid. I had a KTM crosser when I got rid of the quad bike, and I was scared shitless of the bike. I was fair to say I was a bit of a wimp when I was a kid, and I've changed a lot since then. So I got this 125, and I fell in love with it, and I used to ride it to college. I used to ride it to go and visit my mum. She lived in a village at the time, and I just absolutely loved it. It was an amazing bike, and it had really good acceleration. It was quite a quick bike. You could literally get it to almost reach 100 mile an hour, and that would be like really really screaming it and pushing it. It was a really good solid bike. And anyway, in the end, I had to sell it due to financial issues. I got laid off from a job I was doing, and I just couldn't afford to run it. And then also I decided I was going to go for my car lessons and stuff like that. And decided that I'm going to do my driving lessons instead. So I did that, and I failed the CBT a couple of times. Not the CBT, the theory test. I passed the CBT. Yeah, the theory test. I failed it a couple of times, and I just gave up on the driving. And then I decided that I was going to put the bike back on the road. So I did. Um, because I think what had happened was I can't remember like the full time frame of everything. But I was riding home from college one night, and my I was coming back on the bike, and was at some traffic lights, and just as you leave these traffic lights, so I was going straight at the traffic lights, and you carry on going straight, and then this bus lane starts, and motorbikes were allowed in the bus lane. Cars are actually not supposed to go in the bus lane. And anyway, I set off. So I was in the lane that was gonna go into the bus lane, and there was a guy in a car next to me he was gonna go straight on, but like on the road, like which was next to the bus lane. So we're both going straight on, but I was going into the bus lane. He wasn't, because he's not actually supposed to go into the bus lane. So anyway, so we set off from these lights, and he sets off in this car with wheel spins, sets off with power, and just bombs it onto the road ahead. And then what he does is he swerves into the bus lane and then slams on for a vehicle like a taxi or something that was now in front of him. So the taxi was like in front of me, and then obviously the taxi's shot off. I've set off, so I'm coming, and then he's come and he swerved like that, and then he slammed on, and then I had to slam on. It had been raining, but like it wasn't raining anymore. But like the road was just a little bit wet still, and I just slid off the bike. I slid off, and the guy didn't even he failed to stop, and he just carried on. And I'd come off the bike, and he just carried on. Luckily, some people like the upstairs of a shop had seen and got the registration plate, and literally, all came to see if I was all right, and I got picked up, etc. And everything was just all fine and dandy after that. But I didn't ride the bike for a little while. It wasn't that I think maybe I was a little shook up. And then I think I can't remember what had happened, but I decided I was gonna put it back on the road and get reinsured a little while later, and then I got ripped off, believe it or not, by an insurance company. So and then I had to sell the bike due to financial issues, and it was just sat there. I wasn't putting it on the road, so I got rid of it. The biggest regret of my life, like I wished I'd never got rid of it. But anyway, the point being, now I've got the urge. I want to get a bike back again. I'm thinking about redoing my driving lessons again, but kind of while that's in preparation, I'm kind of tempted that I want to get like just a little 125 again. Nothing too snazzy, just something that will get me from A to B. Just something, where I can just, take tomorrow, for example, not at work, little bit of a free day, would be able to go out for a ride, that kind of thing. Go visit the grandparents, that kind of thing. That'd be a really cool thing to do, and stuff like that. And that is essentially like what that's essentially like what I want to do, is do that essentially, and just be able to like go for a few little rides out, and if there's any local gigs in the area, You know, if I got to go to Brid for a gig, like, you know, go to Brid and do the gig, or, you know, go to Scarborough, do the gig, or, you know, Grimsby, do the gig, kind of thing. But, you know, the whole kind of like point of it is I've got the urge to want to get a bike back. And it's not a definite, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a bike, but like I want one. I'm gonna do a little bit of a browse. So I'm keeping my eye out on the market at the moment just to see if anything comes up. Like I say, doesn't have to be like, you know, the biggest and best thing in the world. Like I would like it to have a little bit of power. Don't get me wrong. But mainly it is just to kind of that initial, you know, to get me from A to B, and just to be able to literally you know, be able to go places essentially and just have a bit of fun and just get a little bit of freedom back into my life while I'm initially going back in to do my driving lessons and stuff. Um, so yeah, all I'm doing at the moment is keeping an eye out on the market. If the right sort of bike comes about, gonna redo the CBT test as well. If the right bike comes about, just essentially, you know, do that essentially, and you know, do the test, and then just essentially, get on the road again. And then, you know, like I say, if the right bike comes about, I've got a bike again to go on the road. So anyway, I'm gonna cut the stream. Thank you all for listening. A few people locked in. We had a few comments. Like, comment, share. So Scotland, 8th of September, Oik Base nightclub. Get yourselves there. Free entry, free charities, 8 DJs, one night. So many hours of music. Get yourself there. Yeah, like, comment, share. Peace.